This is the USA Network.
But who was he? I mean, how was Jefferson Brown connected with your father?
He worked for him. He was my father's trusted assistant, I believe the phrase is. That was the worst mistake my father ever made, trusting him.
But how do you know it's true? That Jefferson Brown stole those mysterious secret documents instead of your father?
If I had proof, I wouldn't be here, and my father would still be alive.
So you don't have proof? You're just guessing?
It's unassailable logic. There were only two people who worked in that particular office of the State Department who had access to those documents. My father and his assistant. My father did not take those documents. That leaves the assistant.
Then why wasn't he arrested?
Mr. Brown was very clever in making it look as though Fowler Wilcox had taken the documents. And now he's made it even more difficult to prove my father's innocence. He died.
Come on, Price, it's time to get it together.
What?
You said you wanted to get up at 9 o'clock. It's 5 after now.
I need about 10 more minutes, okay?
Yeah, you all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. Will you answer something for me? What was Jefferson Brown really like?
Well, there's a kind of a peculiar question for first thing in the morning, isn't it?
Is it? I mean, you knew Jefferson Brown most of your life, but I didn't know him.
Jeff or Sky. You know me.
Yeah, but I mean, what were you like before you met Schuyler Whitney? I should say before you came Schuyler Whitney, but I don't know what you were like.
Hey, listen, sweetheart, I've got some calls to make. Why don't we talk about this downstairs, okay?
Oh, God. Could it be true?
In cases of self-defense, and I'm sure we're going to be able to prove that.
We can't be sure of that. Nobody can, least of all Gavin. That is exactly why he is running. That's why he's going to keep on running.
Well, you're going to feel better if you have some breakfast. Please, let me tell Mrs. Goodman that you're ready. I know I am.
I'll go get Miles.
Miles isn't even here. He left the house at 7:30 this morning. Look, all he had was coffee.
Did he go to the hospital?
Yeah, he wanted to be there when that new patient of his was discharged.
Is that the one I keep hearing about, the actress with the funny name?
Yes, that's the one we keep hearing about.
I'm so glad that you were able to be here before I left. I wanted to apologize to you.
For what?
For the way I treated you. I gave you a really hard time, didn't I?
Oh, listen, I've had patients treat me worse.
Patients like me, to whom you've pronounced the death sentence?
I said no such thing. There's no certainty, Jinx.
Dr. Kavanaugh, is that why you came here this morning? To say things that you don't mean?
I came here just so that you would know that life on the outside goes on and that you can get out of here and lead a perfectly normal life.
Until it's over.
Isn't that what we all try to do, lead a happy, normal life until it's over?
Well, it is true about me, what you said, that I wouldn't have any bad symptoms, that there'd be no pain, I wouldn't pass out on the street.
Not even in the middle of a stage.
Do you think I'll ever get back on a stage?
Why not?
Well, Doctor, you see, people like long-running hits. I'm a limited engagement.
Well, now, what are you planning to do? You're going to put your illness on your resume?
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to tell anyone. And wouldn't that be horrible if people knew?
Well, they probably wouldn't even recognize the name of the disease.
Well, I'm not going to say anything, and neither are you.
I don't think anybody's going to ask me.
Well, I don't know. You might let it slip out. Word might get around, and if you did that, well, that'd really be the end of
Now,
me.
look, Jinx, in certain situations, doctors feel they have to tell family or close relatives, but almost always the will and the wish of the patient is paramount.
Well, I have no family, no close relatives, and the wish of this patient is for you to keep your hands and mouth shut.
And that is what I will do.
Promise? On your Hippocratic oath?
I promise. What do you plan to do with the next few days, few weeks?
I don't know, really.
You know, if you went back to work, you...
Ah, yeah, work, of course. Well, work is the best medicine. I mean, that's a place you can go and hide your troubles. But see, there's one problem, Doctor. In my profession, it's not very easy to find work.
No, I realize that.
Well, in fact, one can spend their entire life just looking for a good role. And in my case, well, I know one thing.
What's that?
I'd better stop postponing things. I'd better stop making all those plans like I used to. What I'd better do is to do all those things now that I was going to save for later. I mean, I'm not going to have a later.
Well, there's another thing you must do. You must keep in touch with me.
Oh,
all right?
no.
Yes, I want to set up a schedule of appointments. Really, at least call me once in a while. I want to know how you're doing. You're still my patient, right?
Well, this patient, Doctor, has run out of patience. I can't afford to be patient anymore. There are things out there in this world that I want. Well, I'll just have to go out there and take them. Thanks.
A terrific smile.
Hello, Miss Bryson.
Detective Tyler, hello.
Hey, don't look so apprehensive. This is not police business.
Oh, well, if you'd like a portrait,
Actually, what I'd really like at the moment is a picture of a man who calls himself Jim Diedrichson.
Jim. Well, who told you about him?
Well, it just happened to pop up in a conversation that I was having with Calvin.
And let me guess, there was a third party there. Kelly McGrath?
Yes, it was.
Well, Detective, is Jim wanted by the police?
As far as I know, he isn't.
So this is just personal curiosity?
Yes. I dropped by your apartment last night to talk to you about it, but you were out.
Yes, I was out, as a matter of fact, with Jim.
Oh, really? Well, you must know more about this guy than Kelly realized.
Well, I know a lot more about him than the first time we met, that's for sure.
Well, Kelly seems to think that there's some question about this man's true identity.
You mean about whether or not he is really Jim Diedrichson?
Well, you must admit that you have fewer means of identifying him than most people.
Well, it's true. I didn't know his face, but I certainly didn't take any fingerprints. It's Jim. I'm almost sure of it.
Look, did he show you any identification?
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, he showed me his driver's license, credit card.
Well, look, those could be fakes. I mean, it's been more than a month since that story appeared about you in the Monticello News. You had a lot of time.
I doubt it.
Well, okay, look, maybe the guy's name really is James Diedrichson. That's not an uncommon name. I mean, maybe that's why he was attracted to your story in the first place.
He knows far too much about me, about us, to be a fraud. Take my word for it.
There were a lot of details published in that story.
Not every detail. Little things like his favorite poem.
Okay, what about his voice?
Altered by the messages. So it sounds somewhat different. He's still the man that I knew 3 years ago in Switzerland.
Miss Bryson, look, I know that this is none of my business, but I can't help but wonder. I mean, you've been so anxious to see this friend of yours again. Are you sure you're not fooling yourself?
Well, you're right, Detective. It is none of your business. And because it's also not police business, I hope you don't mind if I get back to my own business.
Okay. I'm sorry to have bothered you. By the way, Raven Whitney also dropped by your place last night. I think she did want to talk to you about business. You might want to give her a call.
Thank you.
Goodbye. sure? You seem a little upset.
No, I'm just thinking about this shot. Contrary to popular belief, there's a lot more that goes into taking pictures than just snapping shutters.
Oh, I'm sure.
I am the worst faker. Jim, I am upset about something, and it has to do with you.
Oh, I was afraid of that. Okay, go ahead, let me have it. What did I do?
It's nothing you did.
Well, let me guess. You've been thinking about all this, and about what we talked about last night at dinner, and how hard it is to bring the past into your present.
That was your theme song last night, not mine.
Well, you joined the chorus.
I didn't. I simply said that it was difficult because of the years in between and the things that happen to people.
Like other people.
Yes, and it's other people who have upset me because, Jim, you have to realize that there are people in this town who are going to resent you.
What? A lovable guy like me?
Yes. It's very well for you to be a character in a romantic story, but now that you're a reality...
Yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes reality spoils things. Sometimes they're left better off unsubstantial. That's what I wanted to do, is just remain a memory.
Do you still feel that way?
Too late for that now.
Well, there are also people who are going to doubt you. Who aren't going to believe you are who you say you are.
Well, I don't care about those people. I just care about what you believe. What's the matter?
Nothing.
I was just going to put my arms around you.
I know.
Well, you let me hold you last night and kiss you.
Well, that was just sort of a mutual impulse, wasn't it?
A regrettable one?
No, I didn't say that. Jim, I don't know how to deal with you. I don't know how to think about you. I don't know how to feel about you.
My theme song was right. 3 years is a long time, especially when people have only been together for less than 3 months.
I'm not sure I knew you then. Jim, you've got to understand, I just need more time to get to know you.
I do. I understand that you don't think you know me anymore. But give me a chance. You will. And pretty soon you'll get to recognize this face as well as, say, Kelly McGrath's, for instance.
Well, I spoke to Calvin and Damian down at police headquarters. They said their hands were really tied since it wasn't a police matter.
Well, it could be, Kelly. If this Jim Dietrichson has designs on Valerie's money and is using a fraudulent identity?
Oh, well, now, we don't know if either of those assumptions is right. Take my word for it, Valerie is not a wealthy young woman.
But she could be soon.
Callie, Valerie and I have talked quite a lot about Jim Dietrichson.
Thank you.
And she spoke to me quite openly about her feelings towards him. She said that her feelings then were really not love.
Just a romantic fantasy, is that it?
Well, the circumstances were certainly romantic. Something out of a storybook, my goodness. A wounded war hero and the doctor's daughter.
That had to make an impression on an 18-year-old still in school.
Yeah, but it's the impression that he can make on her right now that worries me. I mean, even coming back into her life is a romantic fantasy.
But we don't even know if the real Jim Dietrichson has come back into her life. That still has to be determined.
And that's for Valerie to do. Surely there have got to be some things that he may or may not recall from those months in the clinic.
Kelly, why don't you ask Valerie to put him to the test?
A test?
Yeah.
That is a good idea. We can come up with a list of things that she can ask him.
We?
Well, if I were to approach her with the idea, she might think I was being just plain jealous, which is part of it.
All right, Kelly. We'll cooperate.
Yeah, why don't you ask her to come over for dinner sometime soon,
Is tonight too soon?
Morning. Could you come here for a second?
Yes, ma'am?
Why are you dressed differently today?
Different, ma'am?
Yes, your dress is different.
Yes, it is different. Mr. Whitney didn't like the old uniform. He thought it was too old-fashioned or something.
But I bought the old uniform. Who bought this one?
I did, ma'am.
Where did you get it? Some cheap Hollywood catalog?
Hi, Chrissy.
Hi, Mr. Whitney.
Say, Raven, what's this all about anyway? Why all this sudden interest in what kind of a person Jeff Brown was?
Well, I ran into Damian Tyler last night.
Oh, I imagine it was more like he ran into you. He seems to enjoy these little encounters.
We were both going to visit Valerie Bryson, and she wasn't there, so we went out for a drink.
You went out drinking with him?
Oh, he wanted to talk about his father.
His father? Well, I told you he doesn't think much of his father. He doesn't use his name. And I told you why.
Yes. You told me it was because he was accused of stealing government documents. Damian said the same thing, and he was also very upset because people think his father is a traitor.
Well, I'm sure that Fowler Wilcox had no political motivation. He was just a sadly demented man, badly in need of money. He decided to try and steal the first thing of value he could get his hands on.
Skylar, Damian thinks that you, Jefferson Brown, stole those documents.
Do you believe that?
Of course not. How could I possibly believe a thing like that?
That's right, Raven. How could you?
Well, I wanted to talk to you about it last night, but you weren't here until late.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I was out selling missiles to the Russians.
Don't joke about it.
Look, Raven, Tyler is someone who's psychotically obsessed by what happened with his father. He can't accept the truth, so he's got to make up his own truth. And since Jeff Brown was the only other person working in the office, Jeff Brown has got to be the scapegoat. Don't you see that?
I guess.
His father committed suicide, Raven. Now, why would he do that unless he was guilty?
Well, it seems logical.
And if I had anything to do with it, why is it that no one else accused me but Damian Tyler? Don't you see that?
So you're innocent. You didn't do it, huh?
Look at me, Raven. Tell me what you see.
A scoundrel, an imposter, and the man I love.
An operator here at Time. Remember.
It's just that I had to leave so early this morning.
That's okay. We were both wondering how things were going with that new patient of yours. Has she left the hospital yet?
Yeah, she checked out about a half an hour ago. Don't know if I'll ever see her again.
Well, why not if she's so ill?
Well, she's determined to put the illness right out of her mind. She's had her fill of doctors and hospitals. I can't say I blame her.
Oh, but you're not happy she feels that way.
Of course I'm not happy. Much rather keep track of her.
I'm sure the bride will be thrilled with your selection, madam. And that little package for you will be ready shortly.
Thank you.
May I assist you, ma'am?
Oh, yes. I would like to look at those bracelets.
Certainly, ma'am. Of course, all of our designs are exclusive. Each is one of a kind.
And how much is this one?
Let me see. These tags are so tiny. That is $5,600.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it? So unusual.
Yes, there's not another one like it in the world.
And this one, how much is this one? I'm sorry.
Don't worry. Let's see, there it is. This one is $9,000 even.
Well, I can't really make up my mind. I like them both so much. You know what I'll have to do? I'll have to bring my husband in here with me because he always forces me to make up my mind. But thank you very much.
Very good, ma'am. Miss?
I'm sorry, but I'm in an awful hurry. I don't have much time. You wouldn't even believe it.
Leonard, detain that lady. I am very sorry, ma'am, but I can't allow you to leave with our property.